So, Me Too Mom, what did that look like in my life? Oh my goodness. It was so hard for me to see this. And then when I did just sort of fall into it, eyes opened, I recognized how this Me Too Mom relationship set me up for having the kinds of damaging and destructive relationships that powerful, talented, strong women are going to crash into in hierarchy. It was so destructive. So destructive for me. Relationships with men were very much based on power. They were based on lust. They absolutely were founded in me not getting my needs met and working incredibly hard to meet my partner's needs. And this was a reflection of the dynamic that I had with my mother, that it was completely invisible to me, that I was breaking my neck, working to achieve, working to excel, having an incredibly cruel and relentless drive to be perfect so that I would be able to take care of myself and be my own mother while also mothering her and helping her feel safer in her life and feel taken care of and feeling like sometimes she wanted me as a sister, sometimes she wanted me as a best friend, but she always wanted to be the dominant one. And as a child, when I wouldn't obey her because she was coming from hierarchy, my mom was embedded in hierarchy. We're talking about mother bloodline here, and my mom had been incredibly abused with a mother who was not able to be present with her at all because she was so damaged by patriarchy and hierarchy in her own life. So my grandmother set the stage for my mother. My mother did an amazing job of coming out of that dynamic. I mean, she clawed her way out of that. And she's a very strong woman. And I admire her for that. But she also incorporated my grandmother's cruelty. And when I would not submit to her cruelty or her will, she would find it very, very difficult to be in relationship with me. And so for most of my life, we were really at loggerheads. But I had my own world that I built, which she admired, and which made her proud, and which brought her lots of social cookies. And so as long as I was performing on that level, then she would sit back and leave me alone. But that was the problem. She left me alone. I didn't have a mother that I could share confidences with and trust that I could share those confidences with her. I had a mother who played one sibling against the other. There were 3 of us, final count, all things said and done. She manipulated, she used the roles that she assigned us to keep us in a very kind of quiet tension and conflict. That isn't where we wanted to be, but that's the environment she created. And to this day, that dynamic has really damaged my brother's life. Now, he's been recovering fairly well, but we're both getting old. And this dynamic has gotten so old for me that I can't wait to share it with people who are in the 22 to 45 year range, because I guarantee you that if you don't wake up to this, if you don't unpack it, if you don't get to see it and then choose to transform it, so much of your life force, which is meant for you to live your life, will be lost, will be wasted, You'll have relationships that are unsatisfying and confusing when all you really would love to do is just to connect from the center of who you are in a kind, gentle, and loving way. Well, you can't do this in hierarchy. That's against the rules. So, I do hope that you will read the manifesto. I guarantee you that a lot of you are going to be surprised. And you're going to recognize yourself. And it's going to be somebody just turned the light on and, you knew what was in the room, but you had kind of never been able to get that light switch to work for yourself. So this is something we do together. And I will share that I have never felt as calm and peaceful and happy. And I've had a lot happy in my life, but this is a deep, 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 deep level of relaxation that I've never experienced before. And because I know the causality of it, and because I know what it feels like to not be in that relaxation, I know what it feels like to be scrambling around in the Me Too Mom template. And then for me, there was the hierarchy racial dynamic, which is a false construct as well, having to navigate around that. And my mother had that burden also. So I want to go back to what I said before. Working on this together with your story or your life and Me Too Mom, you can become unavailable to patriarchy and hierarchy. You can close down, shut off their access to you and your living light, so that you have that living light to live your life purpose instead of serving others who have no living light of their own. Now, I'm not going to talk about forgiveness right now. I'll do that in another video, and that'll be on the Patreon page, and we'll do that in the online workshop. We'll bring up the topic of forgiveness, and I will share a clip from an amazing video that I saw online of a woman who was talking with an expert on the mother wound. And this woman was describing how she was still in the Me Too Mom dynamic and not able to get out of it. So I just went through the winter holidays in the company of my mother, and she did go through the triggers, the behaviors that in the past would have put me in a state of being unable to focus, unable to find and feel myself, feeling frustrated, feeling very sad that she and I don't connect. But I didn't have that experience this year. What I had was the wonderful experience of connecting with the people who were available for connection. And I watched my mother kind of struggle because I wasn't facilitating for her anymore. I wasn't helping her find her way into the conversation. And I wasn't serving her based on my anticipating her needs. I did reach a space where I made it very clear that if she needed anything or she wanted me to do something for her, she would have to ask me directly and risk my saying no. This was shocking to her. I mean, I watched it leave her literally speechless, and it was over very simple things. So, in my life, that looked like, it comes down to a kind of really granular level where you're having fights over how you set the table, or what you're wearing, or your mother can't resist making a comment about how you look, or I know with my own mother, because of her background, very beautiful woman, and she was a model for a period of time, always concerned with the external appearances. Not a lot going on inside. And she has kind of lived vicariously through all of the internal richness that I have in my life. And I was taking her home Christmas Eve night, and she was saying to me that she had saved all of my letters, that she had saved my letters that I wrote to her from around the world, and how she framed these letters was, particularly one, from when I was traveling in Russia. And she said that I wrote to her how much I missed her, and I just didn't say anything because I know that when I was doing what I was doing in Russia, I didn't miss her. I wrote to her just to let her know that I was okay, so that my children would know that I was okay, because they were staying with her and being attended by her, meals, school, practical stuff. And I just let it go, but I could feel that was a story that she was telling herself, that I wrote to her because I missed her. That wasn't my truth. And this is something else that happened in my Me Too Mom relationship. My mother made things up. She changed events. She made up all kinds of stories of things that didn't happen. She said that she'd gone places she hadn't gone, done things that she hadn't done. And I would call her on this, and she would be very, surprised. Now, for me to have to recognize in my adult life that my mother was a liar. And we all know, if you're dealing with narcissists, that they lie. Some of them are not able to make and keep commitments. They lie. My mother lied. She created this other internal reality in which I was a character in her reality, but that wasn't me, wasn't my experience, it wasn't what I was feeling, and she had no way to access that, and she wouldn't have been able to incorporate my experience. She's never been able to incorporate my experience as my experience. It's always seen through the filter of her experience. So one of the main characteristics of frustration of having a Me Too mom is you kind of have this weird sense that your mother is in some way trying to own you and own your life and own what you do and take credit for who you are and take credit for your life. At the same time, she really doesn't have anything to give you of internal value. It's all about the externals. And yes, she may be, hopefully for you, she's been a mom that's kept a roof over your head and kept clothes on your back and shoes on your feet and food in your mouth. But those of you who have a Me Too mom dynamic, you know what I'm talking about. There's no connection. There's no connection. So I'm going to leave you with that. Do join me on Patreon, and please do jump on our next free webinar, and that information will be aligned with this video, and I hope to see you there. These webinars are about waking up to this dynamic, taking off the blinders, removing your guilt, fear, or shame of seeing this relationship for what it is. And I will tell you what, if you're a younger person, and especially if you're a younger woman, this will go a long way to making that broken picker thing that you've got, where you keep picking partners and lovers and maybe even husbands who just can't connect with you or get you or feel you or love you, let alone, really deeply be in an intimate, loving, caring relationship with you. One in which you feel safe in your body and absolutely free to be who you are. So, come on! It's difficult, I will say. This has been one of the most challenging transformational journeys I've been on, but I'm speaking to you from the other side of it. and I want to open my arms, welcome you in, and help you find your own way, your own freedom ladder out of the Me Too Mom dynamic, so that you get out off of that pyramidal hierarchical structure and, using your freedom ladder, get yourself onto the circle of life where you will be amazed at how your life changes when you really do this. And you take the time and attention to focus on you. To focus on you and what you absolutely really need and want. And I don't like to use the word need and want, but let's say you get to focus on absolutely what your most authentic self wants to co-create and have you live inside of and share with others. Okay, so see you on a webinar, and thanks for watching.